Good evening and welcome to the March 26, 2025 meeting of the Hyde Park Zoning Board of Appeals. We are delighted to have you here and delighted to do the work of all of you. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have minutes from the December 19th meeting. I would move for their approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And Madam Secretary, thank you for those extensive minutes. We now continue with the public hearing, and our first is the opening on 7 Beck Road. Looking for a variance there. We will talk about that. Madam Chairman, was the public hearing notice published?
Yes, it was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on March 19th, 2025.
Thank you. And I would move to open the continuing public hearing. Is there a second?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Marie Welch from Welch Surveying in Red Hook.
Okay.
Alan Hotung from 7 Beck Road.
Okay, and you want to move your microphones closer so
He moved them away so I
moved
could
them away.
put the papers out.
so the world can hear. Okay. I know we talked last time and we've had a site visit, and I wonder if you could just sort of summarize for us what you're seeking in terms of the variances.
Yeah, just because other people from the public may not have been here the last time. We were looking for variances on the north side of the property, and at this point I'm afraid I have to ask for one additional variance on the west side of the property when we put the pool, when I did the offset to the pool deck, we were about 1.5 feet too close. So that's something I would like to ask the secretary if we can add to our requests. But what we're looking for is Mr. Hotelling had built a couple buildings, addition to a building that he had on his property, and they're too close to the property line based on the current zoning code. We're also going ahead with a lot line change with the planning board once the zoning board has determined that the variances can be granted for what we're looking for. And the variances we're asking for will correspond with that proposed lot line change. So the request is for the setbacks from the property line after the change in the lot line.
That's the variance you're asking for, after the lot line has been changed.
Right, so,
Okay.
so currently, it's only, one of them is like 1.5 feet off the property line.
Right.
And so when we do the lot line change, that building will be 14, I know I brought pictures. You have maps, I believe, in front
Yes.
of you.
Yes, we do. And the variance will take effect when the planning board
Gives
gives the lot line.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
It gets confusing.
So that's the question that I had asked the planning board when we were out there, and I don't know if it came back to you, Tad, but the two containers and the lean-to are all less than 15 feet tall. So does that then only require a setback of 12.5 feet from the property line as opposed to 25, which would be half of the setback? So we would still need a variance for the metal building, which will become 18.7 feet rather than 25 feet. But I believe that the lean-to, which would be the only other structure that's a built structure, would fall outside of the setback. So that was a question I had. So I think we're really only looking for a setback or a variance of 18.7 feet as opposed to 14.9 feet. I think we decided we'd go with the 14.9 because that would cover everything. But
Okay,
that's,
now,
So-
at this,
Sorry, I just have to clarify, so this board has to give you the least variance that you
Okay.
need. So, you
Well,
can't, yeah.
okay.
So if you only need the,
well, that's we would only need 18.7 if the lean-to is not considered, is considered an accessory structure, in which case it would not need a variance because it would be more than 12.5 feet from the sideline.
okay, let me, at the site visit, what it looked like was the back of the building, the two containers and the shed we're at the same distance.
That's correct. But the shed and the containers are less than 13 feet? Is that I forget in the zoning. If they're lower than a certain height, they can be considered accessory structures and therefore only have to be half the setback. So if the 25 setback is 25, they only have to be 12 and a half, and the lean-to would be 14.9.
So I guess we're looking at this point of start with the building and everything else is in the same distance from the new lot line, and that's the distance that we should give you in terms of the variance.
Well, the lean-to is a little bit closer to
I
the new
thought you
lot
cut
line.
it off.
Yeah, we cut
We cut it off, but it's still closer than the metal building. They're not an exact straight line, and they're not parallel to the property line. Would you like me to give you I have the,
Is that a new amended or annotated plan?
it's
Okay.
the same one that's on the map, but it's just a little bit easier to read.
Okay.
And we got one copy.
Okay. Maybe we can make copies of this for members.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
that's
wasn't-
much help,
I
yeah.
actually brought it so I could have something to read, but that's fine, because I've got it on the map.
We'll get a copy for you, too.
Yeah, okay.
And just so you know, I think procedurally, Mr. Chairman? Sorry. I think procedurally, is given that there's going to be changes in the advertised variances, that you would likely hold this meeting open and re-advertise for the next meeting, especially if you're adding a variance that wasn't advertised for, this board couldn't grant it this evening.
Okay, and I understand that, and I just want to point out too, I think he also has to have his COC, I'm asking this as a question. Does he have to have the COC for the pool before you could grant the variance anyway? That's the reason we're doing, to bring the pool into compliance as well, was one of the things that the zoning enforcement officer, zoning administrator asked for.
Okay,
So he's met with the building inspector today,
Just
Right,
barely
today.
shows it goes
and
over.
he has a couple things he needs cleaned up, so we don't have a COC for the
50 feet.
pool.
okay,
So I don't think we could even have closed the public hearing tonight anyway.
okay.
25.
So, but
Thanks,
that's.
Yeah, I just wanted to make everyone
Yeah.
aware that we're gonna have to re-advertise
That's-
and let the
that's
public
okay.
know what the corrected
Okay,
requests will be.
Thank you, Tim.
just clarify a minute, the pool you're asking for the variance on the deck of the pool.
Yeah.
Everybody got one?
We didn't even look at the pool.
Yeah.
No, we didn't look at the pool.
Oh, I
over
know.
there.
Thank you.
How close is it?
It's 23.4 instead of 25.
And that's
And
on
it's-
that's on the west side.
But it's the rear. No, it's the rear property line, so it's a 25-foot setback. I thought of that too, but then I realized that the rear setback is 50. And I know what happened. There's a wall back there, and the wall veers off a little bit. And they probably
This is-
measured from the wall,
We're
but
saying
because the
50
wall's
feet
not
here,
exactly on the
here, and
line,
here.
they managed to squeeze it too close.
Counsel?
Yes.
What we're saying in the first variance was that the 50 feet variance would still be in effect on both the east and the west and the south. And the variance you're looking at is only for the north.
Correct.
But the pool
Is on the west.
is on the west.
And the side yard setback for the west is 50
Right.
for the rear. And it's, so a accessory structure would have to be
Well, not
20.
the rear, but the west.
Well, the west is the rear in this case, because the east is the road line.
And the north is the property line that's shared with his adjacent lot.
They identified
Yeah.
as the backyard.
So the.
Okay, but the pool deck goes toward the west property line.
It's 23.4
Right,
feet from the
and
west.
shouldn't it be 50?
Should be 25.
Well,
Because
because it's an
it's
accessory
accessory
structure.
structure, it only has to be half the setback.
It's half the 50-foot setback, so,
Okay.
but they don't meet the 25
Gotcha,
foot. Yeah.
okay, all right, so if we want to include that, yeah, we need to reconfigure
Continue.
this.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Okay, all right.
Are there a limit to the number of accessory structures? No? Okay.
Okay.
The distinction comes with sheds that are under 140 square feet. The first shed can be 5 feet from the side and 5 feet from the rear. The second one has to meet half the setbacks if it's under 15 feet.
Has to be, one can be closer, but the rest have to be, I got it.
Okay, All right.
So all these are too close.
So I think procedurally, I would recommend that you amend your application
Okay.
with Kathleen, and just do a formal so we know exactly what you're looking at, and we have a record of that,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah. Now, let's just clarify. I want to make sure we're clear on the variance on the north side. And looking at your drawing here. Okay. So the lean-to is closer. So it looks like your minimum is going to be, you're really asking for 14.9 feet.
Well, that was, my question was, is the lean-to considered an accessory structure? Because the side yard setback on accessory would be 12 and a half, and therefore would not require a variance.
And it's not part of the footprint of the building.
Right.
So it's an accessory or not?
Yeah.
It is an accessory. So it would qualify for half of 25?
Yes.
Right.
12 and a half.
So then that one wouldn't even require a variance. So that's why I'm saying we would actually request the 18.7
Okay.
to meet the closest, next closest building corner, which is the actual building, which is
For the
over
main building.
35, over the height requirement.
Okay, are we
And-
also saying that the containers are accessory? All right,
Yes,
Yes.
because they're also, they're all
Okay.
about 8 feet tall.
okay.
But then what do we do about the porch on the one-story dwelling? Is that?
That already had variances.
Right.
That
Oh,
went through
it has.
years and years ago.
Contemplated yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so we're not gonna, we don't have to worry about that.
It
Okay,
was rebuilt on the same
All right.
foundation.
Yeah, I got it.
you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
You're all right?
I don't know if that's where.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call that pre-existing non-conforming.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Perkins, you have any other questions?
There was on the photo that you
Oh.
gave us, there was another building down here, or what is
It'd
that?
be on the southwest corner.
It's on actually the south side of the property line. There's a shed there for the horses, and there's also a truck body that, according to our site plan, is to be moved to a different location.
Yeah.
Because it's close to the property line. But there's a shed for the horse on the south of the property line.
On the other piece
The
of property.
tax map may not show
Yeah, you
it
don't-
correctly. Sometimes,
That's just a removable shed with hay, or the lawn.
yeah.
Yeah, we
One's
saw that
a
when we went.
run-in
you guys saw
for the
that.
horses.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to bring you up a copy of the survey?
I think we're
Okay.
okay.
I think we're okay.
Okay, good. All right, then I would move that we continue the public hearing
I'll second that.
for April, Madam Secretary, what are we, April 26th?
No, 23rd, I believe.
23rd, for April 23rd?
Yes.
Motion, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed, okay. Good, this helps clarify it, I think.
That's it.
So make a little change there.
And I'll talk to Kathleen about getting that addition to the request for the deck for the pool.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's get it all done at once.
It sounds
All
good to
right.
me.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you
Good
next
to see
time.
you.
Okay.
And thank you for your hospitality at the site visit. We appreciate it.
All right, I'll take,
That's yours. huh?
yeah, this
Okay.
one, this one,
All right.
and this one.
All right.
He's moving, is that what it said?
Yeah. We got, okay. All right. We have now we move to a new public hearing. Hyde Park LLC, 24 Main Street, Hyde Park. Gentlemen, welcome back. Madam Chairman, did we publicize this? I think we did. As soon as we get confirmation. Madam Secretary, yes.
Yes.
What did I say? Did I?
The public hearing notice was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on March 19th,
Okay,
2025.
thank you very much. Okay. I would move to open the public hearing. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome, gentlemen. Can you quickly,
Been
you are anxious tonight, I can tell. Would you?
Yeah, my name's Shan.
Good. And you, sir?
Been Young.
Thank you. We're delighted to have you here. Tell us, I know you're looking for a variance on the oil tank.
Yes.
move to the side. Tell us the progress there, and I think you have a picture.
Yes, we do have a picture.
Oh, can you show some of the members that haven't seen this yet?
Okay.
This is where the tank has been.
Well,
Back
we
up.
can just pass-
Oh,
we can just pass that down.
Oh, you got it. Oh, okay.
We can just pass it down, I only have the one.
Oh, okay.
I don't see the tank yet, hold on.
That's coming down.
Coming down,
there, yeah.
coming down. Here, you don't have it.
Ah, oh, that's nice.
That's
Now,
nice.
Is there a barrier underneath?
Pad?
Yeah.
Yeah, concrete,
That-
Concrete.
Concrete part
concrete pad,
underneath the tank.
A recovery pad?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The questions from the board?
No.
Paul,
No questions.
are you sure? I'm positive.
How many gallons was it?
I think, was it
275.
Okay. Council,
No comments.
are there anybody from the public? There not being any, I would therefore move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have a resolution here. Paul, is that you?
Yep,
Okay, would you read it, please?
sure would. Resolution to grant 2 area variances. Hyde Park 88 LLC, 24 Main Street, Hyde Park, New York, 12538. Date, March 26, 2025, resolution number 25-02Z. Whereas the applicants Cheng Sheng and Su Ping Cheng, on behalf of property owner Hyde Park 88 LLC, has submitted an application for 2 area variances to install an outdoor oil tank in the rear of the commercial building at the property located at 24 Main Street, Hyde Park, New York, identified as parcel number 6065-20-766233 in the neighborhood core district. And whereas the project is depicted on a sketch plan submitted with the application dated February 7th, 2025, and whereas the applicants seek an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a front yard setback of 22 feet where 30 feet is the minimum allowed, the first variance. And whereas the applicants seek an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a rear yard setback of 9 feet where 15 feet is the minimum allowed, the second variance. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with section 267-B of the Town Law and Hyde Park Zoning Law section 108-33.6B2 regarding the requested variances. 1. The requested variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The installation and relocation of an oil tank to the rear of the commercial building is required under the town code and will effectively screened by fencing. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the requested variances. The new above-ground oil tank is required to be installed for the structure and must be screened in from public streets. Because the property is a corner lot, the applicants must obtain setback variances. 3. The requested variances are numerically substantial. Although the requested variances may be considered numerically substantial, the applicant has minimized the variances to the extent possible by installing the oil tank in the proposed location. The requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. The existing oil tank will be replaced in kind with a new oil tank and will simply be relocated to the rear of the property. No impact to the physical or environmental conditions of the surrounding area will result from the new location. 5. The difficulties are self-created. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variances subject to the following conditions. 1, pursuant to Section 108-33.5 F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it will be revoked. 2, payment of all fees and escrow.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you pull the board, please?
Yes. Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
And Chairman McNary?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to many more people coming in the front door. We're glad to have you here, and good luck.
Would
Thank
you,
you.
would you mind if during the week I stop and take a look? I'll just.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do you have an appointment?
No. I may though.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, our next item is, yeah. Yes, what's our next item? The Hyde Park Quick Stop, 4912 Albany Post Road. This is it's a new public hearing. Madam Secretary, was the public hearing notice published?
Yes, in the Poughkeepsie Journal on March 19th, 2025.
Thank you. I would move to open the public hearing for the Hyde Park Quick Stop 2025-10Z. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Welcome, sir.
Good evening.
How are you? Tell me your name again.
Brandon with Maury Architects, Brandon Petrella.
Brandon, thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank
Tell
you.
us a little bit, let's sort of refresh us in terms of what you're seeking here.
Okay, so we are adjusting some previously approved variances. I'll actually I think we're all pretty familiar with the site, so I'll just skip by to the meat of everything. So originally we had our underground oil tanks in the front yard where we had a variance granted to have them within 5 foot 7 inches of the yard. We're actually relocating the tanks due to substantial rock that it would be very costly to remove. We're relocating to where a portion of the underground storage tank, in lieu of having all of them inside the setback, which is these light green, a small portion of one of them will be in the rear setback.
Will the others be in the front?
No, these were where they previously were located. We actually had 3. We had these 2, and we had a diesel located here. We're condensing them into compartmentalized 2 containers, so there's actually diesel and regular fuel oil in this, or gasoline, I should say, not
So
fuel
they'll
oil.
all be on the north side of the property?
Correct,
Okay.
the highlighted green, not
Okay.
the dark green.
Good.
So only this portion is what's requiring the variance. So that'll move to a request for a 10-foot, it will be within 10 foot in an area that requires a 20-foot setback, so a 10-foot variance essentially.
Okay.
As far as side yard setbacks, all of those have now become compliant, so we don't need any of those. They have changed, obviously, because we added a canopy and some other things, but it's all within the setback, so that's why that area is shaded. The other variance we'll be seeking is previously we had a coverage variance of 9.5%. We're actually looking to increase that up to a 10.8% variance. And the reason for that is just simply for the same reason that we moved this to this location. We now need to access those locations. So our pavement area actually got a slight increase here in the corner. It's about 350 square foot of additional impervious coverage total. To compensate for that, we actually shrunk our building a little bit, and we did a couple other things to kind of cut that down, but we still are a little larger than our previously approved variance. And then finally, scale, and this one is actually, we're adjusting this variance just because we're here. We actually got approved for a larger scale at 9,071 square feet when 7,500 is permitted, but as I mentioned, we actually reduced the size of the building, and we've gotten rid of the second-story office because we are adding a canopy over the diesel pump. And that actually, now our scale is actually almost 500 square feet lower. It's actually 8,516 square feet. Still needs a variance, but it's not as extensive as it was previously. So we're asking for a little more in one location. And
So the size of the building is coming down, the imperviousness is going up, and you're asking for more of the side yard
We're asking for
The
a
rear-
rear yard in lieu of
rear,
a
I'm
front.
sorry.
Where the tanks go.
Where the tanks are.
And a lesser ask of that variance. So it used to be
Right.
about 15 feet. We're now actually only asking for 10 in the rear.
Okay, okay, good. All right. I see you're already digging.
So what happened was, I'm not sure if you guys are, the tanks themselves were empty at one point, and the water table pushed them up out of the ground. So DEC has asked us to correct that, so that's what they're working on.
Okay.
And you're gonna have the traffic go both ways on both sides of the pump?
No, which pump? So on
The
your
front-
The front pumps.
on the front
That was
pumps, yes. These are two-way lanes here. We only have an in and an out from
Only an
9.
entrance here. It's only an entrance on the south side and an exit on the north?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So you have two-way traffic around the pumps, but
So
you can only
I just
come
say
in
you
and
have a
out.
conflict here, right? In other words, somebody's coming in.
All right, you come in and you can either go immediately left or go past the pumps and go left. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay?
But-
But you're always going left. Always going this way.
So shouldn't that be one way? That one, the two-way in the back?
The
one way in
drawing here
front.
shows on the furthest west, right there, going both ways.
Correct. Yeah, if you were to come, let's say you came in and you didn't want to stop at, let's say you came in
People
and you're
come out.
going around and all of these pumps this direction are full, you need to be able to loop the
you
island,
wanna go
come
around this
around,
way, he goes
and go
around.
back into
He pulls
one
in
of the
this way
pumps.
and he wants to go back around. There's-
Right, but if you want to exit here and go that way.
Yes, yes.
That changed from a year ago, Rich, if you remember.
Okay.
That was a whole big deal.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just be careful.
That hasn't changed.
no,
No.
Okay, okay.
It was always two-way.
yeah,
Other questions?
No, I'm good.
yeah, we're good.
Paul?
I would just like to point out for whoever's reading the resolution,
Yeah, how far
that
down?
on the whereas clause discussing the 10-foot variance,
How far down?
I mistakenly wrote front yard, it should be rear yard. It is on the second page at the top. So where it says front yard, it should say rear yard.
Decreased rear yard setback?
Yes,
Okay, sure, thank you.
thank you. For it to read.
Okay. All right. Other questions? Paul, anything?
You good, Paul?
You good? Are you, all right?
I'm fine, yeah.
Okay. Counsel, any other questions?
No, that is it for me.
This has been on our board for a long
Okay,
time.
all right.
Yeah, we gotta get him out of here.
Yeah.
Well, we delayed a little bit, so it's on us too.
There being, Madam Secretary, were there any comments?
We have received no public comments.
No public comments, okay.
I think
Therefore,
everybody's anxious. Everybody I talk to is anxious.
When is that happening?
So, I mean, they want to obviously get started, so
Yeah,
they're out there working,
of course
so,
they do.
yep.
I would move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Bowen, you have moved, you're going to move this resolution?
I'm
please?
ready to go, yeah. Resolution to grant 3 area variances, Hyde Park Quick Stop, 4912 Albany Post Road, Statsburg, New York, 12580, March 26, 2025, resolution number 25-01Z. Whereas the applicant Maury Architects, on behalf of owners Jat Boys Properties, has submitted an application for 3 area variances to renovate and increase the size of an existing gas station at property located 4912 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, identified as tax parcel number 6066-02-879-622 in the Neighborhood Business Zoning District. And whereas the project is depicted on a plan entitled Hyde Park Quick Stop, prepared by Maury Architects, P.C., dated February 7th, 2024. And whereas in 2022, the applicant sought and obtained an area variance from zoning law, section 108-5.15, to permit increased lot coverage of 81.1%, where 70% is the maximum. An area variance from zoning section 108-5.15 to permit a decreased front yard setback of 5 feet 7 inches where 20 feet is required, and an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a building scale in square feet of 9,071 square feet, where 7,500 square feet is the maximum. Whereas in 2023, the applicant presented an amended plan and obtained an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit increased lot coverage of 79.5%, where 70% is maximum. An area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a decreased front yard setback of 5 feet 7 inches where 20 feet is required. And an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a building scale in square feet of 9,071 square feet, where 7,500 square feet is the maximum. And whereas any prior variance obtained by the applicant have been duly revoked because the authorized activity
Sounds
did not
bad.
commence within 1 year of the date of issuance, whereas the applicant now seeks an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit increased lot coverage of 80.8, where 70% is maximum, to allow for a wraparound asphalt drive for deliveries and access to additional gas pumps as authorized by the town code. And whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a decreased rear yard setback of 10 feet where 20 feet is required, to allow for the relocation of underground fuel storage tanks out of the stream corridor buffer to an area on the west side of the property towards Route 9. Whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 to permit a building scale in square feet of 85.16 square feet, where 7,500 square feet is the maximum, to allow for an adequately sized canopy over the increased number of gas pumps. And whereas in accordance with the town code and state environmental quality review, the planning board is required to determine the classification of the proposed project as lead agency. Whereas the applicant submitted a full environmental assessment form dated March 1, 2022, pursuant to SECRA, and whereas the planning board classified the proposed project as a type 1 section under SECRA and determined that the proposed project will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and issued a negative declaration by resolution number 2022-10A on June 15, 2022, which was subsequently filed with the town clerk on June 16, 2022, and whereas the planning board reviewed the 2024 amended site plan and on March 5th, 2025, the resolution number 2022-10H, the planning board reaffirmed its SECRA and determination of significance. Said resolution was filed with the town clerk on March 6, 2025. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 267-B of the Town Law and Hyde Park Zoning Section 108-33.6B2 regarding the requested variances. Number one, the requested variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to the nearby properties. The first variance allows for renovations and improvements to the site that will both increase its safety and benefit the nearby residents. This site is the only fueling station on Route 9 for miles between Hyde Park and Rhinebeck. In addition to being one of the only convenience stores in the area, the increased coverage allows for more vehicular traffic lanes, increasing safety of the site for both pedestrians and drivers. Moreover, the site coverage and resulting requested variance have been further reduced on this reapplication. Furthermore, the nearby KO storage facility also extends its lot coverage limit. Consequently, the applicant's proposed development keeps with the aesthetics and architectural character of the town. The second variation will not alter the character of the neighborhood, as the fuel storage tanks are underground and not visible to patrons or passerbys on Route 9. The third variance, the increased scale, is necessary primarily to allow a larger canopy over the gas pumps. The scale could conform to code if the applicant renovated some gas pumps and subsequently reduced the canopy size. However, as stated previously, this is the only fueling station along Route 9 for miles. Importantly, this increase in scale is for the gas canopy, which is will be elevated 20 feet above the site and therefore will not cause significant impact when customers use the site. the applicant has further reduced the building scale by eliminating the second floor. 2, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the requested area variances. The proposed variances will allow the applicant to develop a significant larger portion of the parcel while constructing a new facility that can better accommodate customers. The amended site design with the wraparound asphalt drive will provide safe vehicular access for trucks and trailers, thereby increasing the general safety for all patrons. The increased utility of the site cannot be obtained without the requested variance. Number 3, the requested variances are numerically substantial. The first variance would increase the lot coverage to 80.8%, where 70% is the maximum permitted, which is less than an 11% increase. However, the increase in lot coverage is reasonable given the safety and utility benefits that will result for customers. The second variance that the applicant seeks is to reduce the front yard setback to 10 feet, where 20 feet is the minimum permitted. If granted, the second variance...
Jerry, sorry, I just want to point out, it should state rear yard for that paragraph as well.
On the second there?
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
Thanks for that. Okay, let me restate that. The second variance that the applicant seeks is to reduce the rear yard setback to 10 feet, where 20 feet is the minimum permitted. If granted, the second variance would result in a 50% decrease of the setback. It is noted that the front yard setback... Rear, sorry.
Yeah, rear. I apologize.
You're testing my memory here. It is noted that the rear yard setback is required for the underground fuel storage that will not be visible. The third variance applicant seeks is to increase the scale to 8,516 square feet, where 7,500 square feet is the maximum permitted. Over 40% of the increase in gross square feet is caused by the need for a canopy over the fuel pumps. The applicant has eliminated the proposed second floor of the building. Number 4, the requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environment conditions in the general neighborhood or district. The first and second variances will not have a discernible impact to the environment, as the existing building on the site is already large. Any impact of stormwater runoff from the increased lot coverage will be mitigated through stormwater treatment facilities around the site. The second variance, though numerically substantial, will in fact benefit the environment. The applicant seeks to move the underground fuel storage tanks further outside of the wetland stream corridor buffers to its east and south. After considering the related site improvements and the addition of more gas pumps, this proposed location for the fuel storage is the best option. The difficulties are self-created. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variances subject to the following conditions. Number 1, pursuant to Section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it is revoked. And number 2, payment of all fees and escrow.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen, for moving that. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you poll the board, please?
Yes, Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
And Chairman McNary?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Okay, now, when will it be ready?
We're starting tomorrow. No. So, we'll get through with planning, and then we have to submit our building permit drawings, which are under preparation now. So we hope to be starting this summer. So
Good,
hopefully it's not too long of a build-out.
We're looking forward to it, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Thank you
help
so
and your
much.
clarity.
Good to see you again. Take it easy.
Take care. Thank you.
Still here? I thought.
If they go this way.
There's a problem. I must have to come in this way. Yeah.
If they had to all come in.
Okay, there is one other point of business here. We are going to have a presentation regarding the updated storm sewer system annual report. Sir?
My turn?
How are you, sir?
And I can't believe there's not a packed like house with this on the agenda.
Did we advertise this?
Yes.
Oh, jeez, I'm
Well, it
surprised.
was on the agenda.
Which was advertised.
Do you want to?
What are the changes to the, what are the major changes?
Well,
This is an update of the plan.
So, I'm Pete Sotero. I think all of you know that. I'm the engineer for the town, and Tad, obviously. So Tad and I have been working on our MS4 program since its inception, since the DEC instituted or designated us as a MS4 community. It was back in 2003. So we've been evolving, and so every year we are supposed to file a annual report on the things that we've accomplished in that particular year. Tad normally prepares the annual report, which is 5 or 6 pages long. It's submitted electronically now. And then I work with her on the on the rest of the program. So, Tad, I mean, did you want to is there anything you want to highlight on the annual report, or just that I can go through some of the other things?
The annual report is based on the new 24 permit, DEC permit, and it's a little different format. It has a lot less information on it. It's designed to last for 5 years. So this is the first year that we're putting data in, so there's a lot of not needed yet or not required yet. If you choose to look at the report, it's on the website. It's been posted on the website.
So now you will renew it every 5 years?
DEC issues the permit and the permit time. The last one was extended 2 or 3 years beyond when it was supposed to last.
Okay.
So this one is a 5-year
5-year permit.
permit, yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll be required to update anything at the end of that 5 years?
That's our assumption.
Okay.
The DEC will issue a
Okay.
new permit, or they will extend this one.
Are there any key differences, changes, updates that this report represents?
There are significant differences for the requirements over the last permit.
Culvert size is bigger, or?
No,
Well-
No?
not that kind of stuff,
Okay.
but we're gonna have, go ahead.
So, while we're here, why we're here, I'm sorry. Not that we don't want to make this presentation before you guys, but we're required to, by April 1st of every year, make a public presentation, and we've been lagging behind. This is a very involved program, so we finally got our act together, and April 1st is coming up, so your board is it for us to make the presentation to the public. Just as a quick background, I mean, this the program was instituted. There's no funding for municipalities. The municipalities are expected to foot the bill themselves for implementing the program. To be termed a MS4 community, which MS4 is Municipal Separate Stormwater System? Storm Sewer System, thank you. So in order to be classified as such, I believe you have to have a census population of 20,000?
Over 20,000.
Over 20,000. So Hyde Park is the furthest most community in the MS4 world. So you go to next town up, Rhinebeck, no MS4, not subject to any of these requirements. Clinton, not a MS4, don't meet the census.
What about going south?
Going south, everybody in.
Okay.
Okay, everybody down Long Island, Westchester. So, the rub, my rub, and I've said this from day one, is this is very unfair to the little town of Hyde Park, because the regulations that the DEC puts out makes no differentiation between a large municipality in Westchester County and a smaller municipality like Hyde Park. We're subject to the same requirements as any like county, Westchester, across the river, Rockland County. You know, we're the same. We have all these like requirements. Now, so a lot of those towns to the south, you know, Long Island, they have full-time, you know, like people. A lot of them just like deal with this program. They also have much bigger storm drainage systems. They have like industrial, like development. They have manufacturing that like contribute and discharge to stormwater. But still, smaller MS4 communities like us, Pleasant Valley, LaGrange, you know, Poughkeepsie's got more storm drainage. East Fishkill's got more storm drainage. But again, we're held to the same, you know, like requirements as all our other friends to the south. So, and you know, again, there's no, you know, like funding available. The town board has, I believe, there's new funding in the budget for this year for MS4 work. We're going to look to possibly like hire somebody to help with this. So that's just kind of a little bit of background as to how we got into this thing, or how we were. No, we didn't get into it. We didn't opt to get into it. We were put into it. And but you know, I will say, and I'm just going to touch on it because I don't want to take up a lot of time at the end of the meeting, but I want to go through like a couple things just as what's in what we have to do. And one of the things that I feel has been a beneficial thing to this like program that specifically applies to us here in Hyde Park and a lot of other smaller communities in Dutchess County is this raised awareness of erosion control on construction sites. There's much tighter control of inspecting sites, like applicants, like the Belfield site. Now they're starting, you know, the NRI project down there. They have to have trained people out there that understand this stuff. They have to do weekly reports. They have to submit them to, you know, the town. Tad and I go out, you know, and look at things. So that's a real positive thing. There's been a big heightened, you know, like awareness of keeping these sites like tight and not letting sediment-laden water run off the site. So that has been like a positive. So just quickly, in our stormwater management plan that we put, you know, like together, it's going to be published on, you know, like the website. There's what they and in, you know, the permit, there's 6 minimum control measures that everybody has to like adhere to. So I'm just going to go through them really, really quick. The first one is education and outreach. So, you know, education, you know, we talk about projects at the planning board, we talk about drainage, we talk about like erosion control. There's on, you know, the table in the hall, there's, you know, like pamphlets that if somebody wants to pick them up, I believe as part of building permit applications and I think planning board applications. TAD and the building department like include, you know, like material on MS4, like erosion control. We try to do some outreach. You know, we try to make, you know, we're gonna make a little better effort moving like ahead now to do more presentations at a town board meeting. We're going to do more at planning board, you know, like meetings, just to try to do a little bit more education, you know, like an outreach. So that's what the first one is, to, you know, to try to get, you know, like the word out as to, hey, you know, we're doing this, we're required to do this. And
one thing I would ask is that you include this board for some of that education as well.
Love to.
Okay.
Love to. Do you have anything to add to education and outreach, or? Okay. So public, the next one is public involvement and participation. Here we are. So this is part of our public involvement, participation. And again, talking about, you know, MS4, drainage, like erosion control, other parts of the program at, you know, our planning board, you know, like meetings where, you know, we deal with this stuff, you know, like all the time. Publishing stuff on, you know, the website. you know, we're going to try to get some information out to, you know, like the businesses that, you know, may be like involved with this kind of stuff. But again, it takes a lot of time. And so for us here in Hyde Park, we're trying to do the best that we can to comply as best we can with the requirements with the little bit of money that we don't have. So, you know, Tad is doing, you know, a great job. She's overwhelmed. We've been talking about trying to bring on somebody that could get involved in the program because as, you know, she said that this new permit, you know, they never like reduce any of, you know, the regulations. There's always, you know, like add. So there's a lot more. There's record keeping. You got to keep records of all this stuff. How many times did you go to, you know, public boards and make presentations? Okay, we went to the planning board on March 15th. We came to the zoning board on March the 26th. Sixth. You know, so there's just a lot of record keeping. All of these inspections at all these construction sites, you got to keep copies of the weekly reports that come in and blah blah blah. And you know, poor like Tad is just, you know, like overwhelmed. So we've been talking about bringing on a person that could, you know, help with that. We've even had, and I'm getting a little off track, but we even had a call with LaGrange, Pleasant Valley, and us to see, because we're kind of the same size, kind of, and we're all struggling with the same things, you know, not enough time, not enough this, not enough that. So we had a call about, hey, you know, can we think about ways to possibly team up, share some like services, you know, save some money. And so that's kind of an ongoing thing, but you know, we started that. So the third thing that we have to go and deal with is, it's called IDDE, and that means illicit discharge detection and elimination.
Correct.
Perfect. So that's like a fancy term for, do you see any like pollutants that end up showing up in, you know, your stormwater, or not necessarily in like your stormwater, but just like pollutants that you see that may end up getting into, you know, your stormwater system. So one of the things that's been, and really, you know, the main thing that we see up here in Hyde Park is failing septic systems. Now, that could be reported by, you know, like a neighbor that sees, you know, nasty stuff floating on, you know, the surface, or smell or whatever. Or you know, the highway department is out cleaning out a drainage ditch and they you know, smell something that's not so good, or they see something, hey, this looks like a failing septic system. So that's basically our primary, because we don't have like industrial, we don't have manufacturing where they use, you know, like chemicals that may get into the system. You know, every once in a while we'll get like a report of, hey, we see some, you know, soapy water that's running in like a stream, but for the most part it's septic systems. So our program, we keep it pretty simple. Okay, we don't, you know, the town, we don't like regulate septic systems, but what we do as part of our program, and we document it, is we have an arrangement with the Dutchess County Health Department, who oversees that kind of stuff. We get a report, we have a form, you know, date, you know, complaint received. We contact the Dutchess County Department of Health. You know, we got a problem out on 27 South Cross, you know, like road. Can you go, you know, like, and check it out? And they've been very, very good about following up with this kind of stuff. They coordinate like back with us. They contact the property owner. Whatever has to be done, they do it, because we don't want to get into, you know, the ball game of, you know, regulating like septic systems. We want to, you know, like, report it because we have to as part of this like program, and then we have a follow-up like mechanism when the complaint like is closed. We hear back from the health department, hey, it's been like corrected. They did, you know, this, and this. We fill out our form. It's been closed, you know, and we document it. And we have to document every year. 2020, 2025, we have to document all these 6 minimum like control measures, all the things that we did. 2026, we're going to have a new book, 6 minimum control measures. Here's all the things that we did. So that's number 3. So the fourth one is construction sites. That's really one that applies to us. Like I said before, when like these big applicants come before the planning board, like Belfield, like NRI, a bunch of other projects, they have to prepare a stormwater pollution prevention plan, which deals with the quantity of water, the water quality, like treatment, erosion control, like measures. So they come before us, we review it, we approve it. Once they get out for construction, like I said before, there's follow-up on these bigger sites. There's weekly inspections by the developer's engineer. The contractors on the site have to have soil and erosion control training. They have cards, and it's just, it's basically you go on line and you take this course, you get a certificate. It's not rocket science, but you have to have this certification card. So there's a whole bunch of things. The construction sites are, for the most part, tight now. It's pretty tight. Everybody knows what's going on. But we go out and inspect. They go out and inspect. We get these weekly reports. We do closeout stuff, and again, all that is documented project by project. So that takes up a lot of the time here. So that's the fourth thing. So there's 2 more to go. So then there's also a post-construction. So post-construction means that Belfield, let's take Belfield for instance. So Belfield, there's a couple now. There's going to be a lot more as they develop, but there's going to be stormwater management, basins that are going to, where all the water from the site's going to dump into. They're going to, control it. They're going to meter it out, slowly, so it doesn't cause an issue. There's so any of there's permanent stormwater facilities, they have to maintain them. We have to keep an inventory. Belfield, NRI, they have 3 stormwater management ponds. They have a hydrodynamic separator. They have this. They have that, and each site has to have a maintenance plan, which they do as part of the stormwater plan. So each site, after it's built out, they're supposed to, a majority of them haven't, but again, we're going to have to get a little better on follow-up. They're supposed to do an annual report. They're supposed to have an engineer come in. Hey, you've been maintaining your stuff. Here's receipts from cleaning this, from cleaning that, and then the engineer is supposed to prepare a report for the property owner of your permanent stormwater management facility. Submit that report to the town every year. There's a bunch of back in the early stages of this permitting process, 2003, 2004, 2005, there's a bunch of permanent stormwater facilities down at the Culinary that we know of now. I don't think we've ever got an annual report from them, but if we can bring on this new person to follow up with some of this stuff, because we just don't have the time to do all this. So we're going to try to bring somebody in to help out with that. Now, on the flip side, the town has certain maintenance obligations. So if we accept a subdivision road, the subdivision, depending on the size of it, normally has, stormwater facilities. We just accepted a couple roads off of North Cross Road for the Jeffrey Gross subdivision, the 2 new roads that were built up there. They have stormwater facilities there that are to be maintained by the town, because when we take over the road, we take over the stormwater facilities, because the road contributes to the stormwater facilities. So the stormwater facilities are ours. Now, what the town board has started implementing is we as part of any subdivision where we're going to take over maintenance responsibility of stormwater, we're now forming a stormwater drainage district. And what that means is that we go right, we tax. And this is not just Hyde Park. LaGrange does it, Wappingers does it, Poughkeepsie does it, because so if there's let's say that there's 20 20 lots in the subdivision. So each lot is charged like a certain amount, you know, in the first, like we just took those like roads over. Well, so there's not going to be any maintenance of the stormwater facilities for 5 years maybe, you know. So in the beginning, we're just like collecting like a nominal fee to start building up, you know, like the kitty. So as with any district, whether it be, you know, a lighting district in town, when we used to have water and sewer district, Rich knows from his time on the town board, when we had water and sewer district, the town board every year has to set, you know, the rate for any special like district. So when the drainage districts come up every year, you know, the town would come to most likely, you know, the engineer for the town, whether it be me, somebody else in the future, say, hey, look, we got to go set a rate. You know, what do you think? We've got X amount of dollars in the kitty. You know, are we going to need maintenance? So then we set like a rate every year, and that's the rate that's charged. You know, the folks like who live in that subdivision, because it's not fair on like a subdivision road where the subdivision road doesn't benefit the whole town. It benefits the people, you know, who live on that road. So why should the general population of the town have to pay, you know, for maintenance of that particular roads or the particular development stormwater like facilities? So,
And different physical geography is going to have different costs.
that's correct, right. So that's you know, the post-construction. So we have to keep like an inventory of privately owned, permanent like facilities, because they're supposed to submit an annual report documenting the maintenance, and then we have to keep an inventory of the town-owned stormwater facilities that we're responsible for. And we have to do a little report every year on the ones, you know, that we own. So that's the fifth. So the last one is pollution prevention and good housekeeping. So that sounds like we're in a good housekeeping, you know, like magazine type thing. But so what that means is basically that's for us. That's for town-owned like facilities like the town hall, the highway, you know, like garage, and any facilities that are related to highway recreation. And that's basically like, you know, I'm going to keep it like simple, but you know, like you got to keep track of, you know, the chemicals that like are stored at any of those, you know, like facilities. At the highway department, you have to keep track of, you know, the salt barns. Is the salt being put back in the barns after like a storm? At like highway, we're coming up with a plan for washing of, you know, the vehicles, because when they wash down the vehicles, you know, you're supposed to contain, you know, the wash water. So we're actually going to go out and talk to the town of Pleasant Valley, because they came up with a inexpensive like system. Now that the weather's better, we're going to go out and see what they're doing. So pollution prevention and, you know, housekeeping is more on the municipal end of things. Buildings that we own, you know, facilities that we have to keep track of, like I said, the chemicals and you know, that kind of stuff. Up at the highway, we have, you know, a fuel oil tank, so you got to document that. You know, is it, you know, we replaced it like years ago. It's a double-walled, you know, like tank, you know, like now. So there's just a lot of things you have to go document at the facilities. Like we're doing a renovation of the pool over at Hackett Hill, because we were lucky enough to receive a almost $800,000 grant with no, and we're only putting in $200,000 of our own money to completely rehab the pool. So as part of that, we're going to redo, you know, the backwash system for the pool. Now, I don't want to tell you what the backwash system is at the moment, because it's not really up to like standards, but it is going to be up to like standards now. So those kind of things we would document in our stormwater plan book, which is on, you know, the website.
No, the
Is that it, the book?
This is it.
Hold it up. Can you handle it? There you go, right there. See that?
I couldn't figure out how to scan all the attachments. The attachments are most of this.
So
It's available if you want to come look at it.
So this is all the stuff that we put together. So those are the six those are the 6 things, control measures that every like municipality has to like deal with, and they all like apply to us, not the same like degree as a big municipality like in Westchester, but again, as I said, our requirements are no different than our friends to the south. Our friends to the south have more like money. They have probably full-time people who deal with just MS4 and that's it. Here it's Tad. Here it's Tad and the engineer for the town. But we're going to try to get somebody else in too, because it's just we need to do a little bit better job. I think that maybe Tad doesn't feel this way, but I feel that we're doing the best that we can do with what we have to work with. Now, can it be better? Yeah, it can be better. And again, the town board had has appropriated money in this year's budget, and we're still trying to figure out how or who we're going to bring in.
Well, we congratulate you on the report and what you outlined in these 6 categories. Thank you very much.
Very informative, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you, for listening. So.
And you'll be back next month?
Very good.
And not falling asleep. And if you want, and if
Part
you
2.
and you're like free to take one of the books home. They're not like free. You got to bring them back. But no. But thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the
Is there
time.
any other business before the zoning board?
No, sir.
Make a motion, we close the meeting? No.
Just to
Is there a
adjourn.
motion to close?
Yeah, just to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much for everybody.